Welcome back, everyone, to a new special top 50 list. And in this special, been a while since I've done one of these. This is going to be a two-part special top 50 list. First time we are looking at 50 to 26. These are my personal favorite fantasy films of all time. Not completely in specific order, but just absolutely 50 of my personal favorite films. With that said, excluding Star Wars, since it's a fantasy sci fi. It does lean a lot into the sci fi on many things, so I feel it should be excluded. So, with that said, this will also include live action as well as animation, and I'm keeping Disney to a minimal. With that said, first up, some honorable mentions. Into the Woods, a very interesting musical. Maleficent, Mistress of Evil. Percy Jackson and the Olympians, The Lightning Thief. From Miyazaki of honorable mentions, My Neighbor Totoro, as well as Ponyo, Kiki's Delivery Service, because I don't think it is quite as fantasy-esque as many other Miyazaki films. Also, a very good and excellent film, Princess and the Frog, as well as Tangled, The Little Mermaid, a criminally underrated movie, Tall Tale, which had characters like Legend of Bagger Vance, or not Bagger Vance, but Legend of specifically Paul Bunyan and many other classics. The Warriors of Virtue, which is a very interesting film. Basically, kangaroo versions of like the Ninja Turtles. Best way to describe it. Also, a criminally underrated film from the 80s, The Black Cauldron. And a few dishonorable mentions. First up is both the Ewok movies. Now, some may say, why you mention them if you're excluding Star Wars? Because the Ewok films actually are much more fantasy than they are sci fi. But yeah, I'm not a fan of the Ewok films. I never liked the Ewoks, so sorry. But it gets a dishonorable mention in both films. Also, The Neverending Story 3. That film is disgusting and vile to the name of a series that I have always had a very soft spot for. The first and guilty pleasure, the second film. The last dishonorable mention is a film that had so much potential, and I love the books. That being the first of the series called Aragon. When I first saw it in theaters, I liked it quite a bit. As time has gone on, it's aged not so well. With that said, coming at number 50, for me personally, released in 2010, is a film. It's my least favorite of the theatrically released films based on the, of course, C.S. Lewis classics, The Chronicles of Narnia, but still coming at number 50 is done by 20th Century Fox at the time. The Voyage of the Dawn Treader. Of course, based on, technically, if you want to move timeline wise, it's based on the fifth book of the seven books of Chronicles of Narnia. Coming in at number 49, released in 1990, is a film that I actually liked quite a bit, more than some people. And that is The Neverending Story 2, the next chapter. As I said, guilty pleasure movie. I understand why a lot of people did not like the film, but I still liked it. To be fair, I saw Neverending Story 2 before I saw the first film, so maybe it's a little bit of the nostalgia thing and everything like that is why I'm a little more favorable to it than some people. Uh, Speaking specifically towards people like Doug Walker, aka Nostalgia Critic. Coming in at 48 is a great, one of my personal favorite Miyazaki films, surprisingly, less people talk about. I like released in 2002. Of course, one of the key figures in this film was voiced by the great Tim Curry. And that is the film The Cat Returns, which is a sort of, kind of, maybe not, sequel, spin off from Whisper of the Heart. though it itself is more grounded in reality, so it doesn't quite qualify for this list. Next up is another Miyazaki film. Released in 2006, I think it's another somewhat underrated Miyazaki film I genuinely love, and I don't know why more people don't talk about this. I know it was based originally off of actually a story, a book. And yeah, there was definitely some liberties here and there made and things. I get it why some people don't like it, but I love it regardless. At 47 is Tales from Earthsea. Coming in at number 46, released in 1997, is a great film, arguably one of my all-time favorite films from the great Don Bluth. At 46 is Anastasia. Coming in next at 45 is a pretty much completely forgotten about film. It's somewhat grounded in reality, but does have a heavy amount of fantasy influence, and is a very unique film I have not seen anyone else to this day actually make, and the film is actually based on a book by the same name. Coming at 45 is a film called The Indian in the Cupboard. I think it's incredibly underrated and a very good film. Like, there's some real good acting and everything all around. I wish more people heard of this film. But yeah, Indian in the Cupboard is a film I highly recommend checking out, as well as on Honorable Mentions. Tall Tale is another one I highly recommend. Coming at 44, released in 1992, somewhat loosely based off the Arabian Nights, that being the Disney animated film 92, a film I very much have nostalgia for. I saw this film in the drive-in movie theater, the last drive-in before it closed back in the mid-90s. I genuinely miss drive-in movie theaters. Of course, at 44 is Aladdin. Next, coming in at 43, released in 2007 from New Line Cinema, would be the attempt to make into a theatrical version his Dark Materials trilogy. And of course, this would be based off the first book, known as Northern Lights in the UK, and over here known as The Golden Compass. At 43 is The Golden Compass. I think this film is criminally underrated, and it deserves more love than it gets. I was a big fan of the film. I don't know why so many people disliked it personally. I get why there was a lot of protesting, because it kind of makes some shots, obviously, from the books towards, of course, specifically towards the Catholic Church and stuff. It's too bad that controversy didn't cause it to make more money. It only made about 400 million, but keep in mind that was on like almost 200 million on budget, so it didn't really make any profit, which is why they would not. But luckily now today, thanks to HBO, we are getting his Dark Materials done into TV show format, and I actually think that's probably the better route to go. And it has a superb cast, though. I do have a certain fondness for Nicole Kidman and a few others in the Golden Compass film. Coming in at 42 is the first of the three Hobbit films. Yeah, believe it or not, I put all three Hobbit films. Arguably, I'm very biased towards the Hobbit movies, like also Chronicles of Narnia, because I grew up with C.S. Lewis and Tolkien's work. So, I have always had a deep love for these properties. And I still enjoyed a lot of the fight scenes. And also, at 42 is The Hobbit Battle of the Five Armies, released in 2014. And that'd be the last Tolkien film. With that said, coming at 41, based on, of course, the animated film Sleeping Beauty, live action, interesting adaptation, also released in 2014, the same year, Maleficent. Personally, as I've said before, I love Maleficent, arguably because I really enjoy, and I thought, honestly, Angelina Jolie killed it in that role. She was superb. And I actually liked the kind of interesting, unique take they decided to go with Maleficent, personally. Coming in at number 40, released in 2016, arguably in my top 5 favorite video game to movie adaptations. And that is a superb, actually solid fantasy film. Warcraft, based on, of course, the Blizzard IP, the original Warcraft games. I thought it was great. Admittedly, also I'm a little biased because of one of the characters or actors that plays one of the key roles in the film is also does one of my favorite characters in a TV series called Vikings. Coming in at number 39, released in 2013, it would end up creating a song for many years people could not escape. Of course, that is the song Let It Go. Coming at 39, favorite fantasy films for me personally is Frozen. I genuinely love the film, and I think it's the best modern Disney musical. Personal opinion only. I know there's a lot of defenders out there of Tangled. Tangled made my honorable mentions, but not quite my top 50. Coming in at 38 is another film I feel gets more hate than it deserves. Released in 2010 is the film called Clash of the Titans, and this is the 2010, like I said, remake, which include Liam Neeson and a certain actor known best for his role of Lord Voldemort, which of course plays Hades. Funny enough, those Liam Neeson and him not only played in that film together, they also played in Schindler's List together, weirdly enough. But with that said, coming in at number 37 is a constantly overlooked fantasy film, great artistic style, very unique concepts. I love the art, it's so signature and unique to anything else I've seen. Coming in at 37, definitely a cult classic of the mid 2000s, Mirror Mask. A film that I highly recommend many people, and eventually I need to get around to doing an actual movie review on. But seriously, if you've never seen Mirror Mask, check it out. Coming in at 36 is arguably my favorite modern stop motion film released in 2016. A great fantasy film, in my opinion, and just gorgeous to watch and look at. And that being Kubo and the Two Strings comes in at 36. Coming at 35 is the next, or the second of the Hobbit trilogy. At 35, released in 2013, is the film The Hobbit, The Desolation of Smaug. Coming in at number 34 is the first of the 10 films to be on this list. First up, at 34, released in 2010, is Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, Part 1. Coming in at number 33, released in 1984, heavy nostalgia factor included. At 33 is The Neverending Story, the original all-time classic. Coming in at 32, released in 2016, would be the first of the series of branch-off prequel films to the Harry Potter world known as the Wizarding World. At, of course, 32 is Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. Coming in at 31, released in 2013, is a film from a few people I really enjoy material from. Of course, that being Sam Raimi as the director and a certain someone playing as the Great Wizard. Well, supposed wizard. Coming at 31 is Oz the Great and Powerful, a film I enjoy much more than I think a lot of people out there. With that said, coming at number 30, released in 2012, was a sequel to the remake of Clash of Titans. It's too bad this film didn't do better. I actually thought it was superior to Clash of Titans remake, though I liked it more than the original from like 81. But for me, at 30 is Wrath of the Titans. The big fight scene at the end of the film where Hades and Zeus team up against their father Kronos, king of the Titans, is awesome. Seriously, if you haven't seen it, I recommend checking out at least some of the action scenes in it, also with Ares and other stuff. It's just great. Coming in at 29 from Disney, released in 1997, is Disney's take on Hercules. With going more of like the theatrical route and stuff, sort of like a Vegas show type of style of music, unique flair and stuff, and even though it has absolutely nothing even close to Greek mythology. I do love certain James Woods as Hades, favorite Hades of all time, no matter what. Um, but with that said, coming in at number 28, released in 2009, is still a superb film in the series, one of my least favorite, but that's kind of hard to say. Even my least favorite, I still love quite a bit. Coming at 28 is Harry Potter and the Half Blood Prince, which I still think is a superb film. I just think it's one of the weaker films overall. It does have some definite highs in the film, but it also has some definite lows as well, as is also the Deathly Hallows Part 1. Though the pacing is a little bit better, coming in at 27, released in 1996, a great film by, of course, the longtime well-known actor who would voice the main sort of protagonist of the film, of course, that being a certain speaking dragon, of course, voiced by the great, well, Sean Connery. Um, and that would be, of course, the film I wish more people would watch, Dragonheart, comes at 27. Last for part 1 list, coming at 26, released in 2001. Big nostalgia factor, but still compared to other future films in the franchise, I think it's a bit weaker, though I still love it by far. Coming at 26 is Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, or for you in the UK, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. But yes, comes in at 26, and stay tuned next time for 25 to number 1 next weekend specifically. But I'll see y'all next time. Stay safe. Remember, give a thumbs up, like, subscribe, and also leave a comment below what are some of your personal favorite fantasy films. What's your favorite fantasy franchise or world? For me, it's pretty much a deadlock, obviously, between the Wizarding World or Harry Potter universe and the Middle-earth universe. Funny enough, I'm rewatching right now all the Harry Potter films over, so it inspired me to put together this list. But I'll see y'all next time. Same YouTube time, same YouTube channel. Hopefully enjoy the music in the background from Gravity Rush. And I'll see y'all next time. Stay safe out there.